Call this Danville City Commission special call meeting to order today. Today is Monday, February the 9th, 2026, and the time is 3:05. I want to thank you all for your presence this afternoon. We know it's an unusual time for us, but we've got a few things on the agenda, so if we seem like we're moving rather quickly, don't be offended by it. I'm following the directions of my city clerk. So we're going to start the meeting off with a moment of silence in reference to the things that are going on in our city, in our state, and in our world. And then we'll stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. So if you would bow with me, please. Thank you all. Would you please stand? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Those of you who attend these meetings regularly, I hope you noticed that there's only 3 of us in front of you this afternoon. This is a regular meeting date, but an unusual time, and we have a city commissioner who has a child that's sick, and then we have a city commissioner whose husband has 13 ribs broken last night. He tried to mess around with the ice, and the ice won. So we're a little short-handed, but we've got to take care of some important city business this afternoon, so please stay with us. First item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda, and the chair would like to entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented. Is there a motion?
I'll move that we approve the agenda as presented.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second? Thank you, ma'am. Any questions, comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, agenda's approved. Next item on the agenda is our first opportunity to hear from the public. You may come to the podium after being recognized, speak to us at this time about items that are only on our agenda. There's a second Hear the Public where you can talk to us about other things that are not on our agenda. But is there anyone desiring to speak to the commission about things that are on our printed agenda this afternoon? Okay, thank you all. Hearing none, we'll move right along. Next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes of the previous meeting. Chair will entertain a motion for that.
I move we approve the meeting minutes as presented.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second? Thank you, ma'am. Any corrections, additions, or deletions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Minutes are approved. Madam Clerk, would you read the proclamation for us today? Sure. The next item on the agenda?
This is a proclamation for Black History Month 2026. Whereas the month of February has been designated as Black History Month, and whereas February is set aside for all people to learn about, reflect upon, and appreciate the history, heritage, and contributions of African Americans and their profound impact on the United States and the world. And whereas the 2026 theme of Black History Month, A Century of Black History Commemorations, marks 100 years since the establishment of organized national observances, dedicated to the study, preservation, and celebration of Black history. And whereas for generations, people of African descent in the United States have commemorated milestones of freedom, resistance, achievement, and resilience, recognizing that understanding Black history is essential to understanding American history. And whereas Black History Month observances have grown into a deeply rooted cultural institution, bringing Black history into schools, museums, libraries, cultural spaces, workplaces, houses of worship, and communities across the nation and around the world. And whereas in this centennial year of Black history commemorations, coinciding with the 250th anniversary of the United States, it is essential to tell an inclusive and accurate history that acknowledges the central role of African Americans have played in shaping the nation's past, present, and future. Now therefore, Mayor James J. H. Atkins and the Board of Commissioners of the City of Danville do hereby proclaim the month of February 2026 as Black History Month and urge all citizens to join in recognizing and honoring the enduring legacy, achievements, and contributions of African Americans in our city, county, state, and nation.
Thank you, ma'am. The chair would entertain a motion.
I'll move that we accept the proclamation into the record.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second? Thank you, ma'am. She's gonna get herself some training this afternoon, isn't she? Been properly moved and seconded, we accept the Black History Month proclamation commemorating 100 years since the celebration of Black History Week. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Thank you all. Next on the agenda is a Housing Authority appointment. The chair would like to entertain a motion to accept the reappointment of Mrs. Ann Young to the Danville Housing Authority Board. Is there a motion? I move. There you go. All right. Is there a second?
I will second that.
Thank you all. Any questions about Mrs. Young's reappointment? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Congratulations, Ms. Ann Young. You're reappointed to the Danville Housing Authority Board.
You can give this conference about 3 minutes.
Wow. I just realized this agenda is 2 pages long. I was thinking it was just 1 page. Where y'all get this second page from? Whoa.
That doesn't mean you can leave after the first.
I'm going. I think well, okay, let's go on. Next on the agenda is the, fiscal year 25 audit presentation by Ms. Lee Compton.
I have with us Mr. Ben Dennison with Cherry Beckert. He is the senior manager on our audit engagements, and he is going to cover our FY25 audit in 3 minutes or less, Ben. And this will, as a just a reminder to you all and to the public, for several years, the city had gotten behind on audits for a lot of reasons. And we are officially caught up and are on track to stay caught up moving forward. But this has just been a long effort on Cherry Beckert's behalf, and my behalf, and Earl's behalf. And so we're just very excited to be caught up and where we should be. So.
Did you inform him about the fact that we have so many empty seats that he has to take a turn sitting in each one of them before he's
No,
allowed
I
to
told him
leave?
he could skedaddle as soon as he's done.
Oh.
They charge by the hour, so.
Well, okay. And she's the money lady, so I understand. Yes, sir. Welcome to Danville.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. Thanks for having us, guys. I am Ben Dennison with Cherry Beckert, senior manager based in Lexington. Live here in Versailles, not too far away. The commissioners, you guys have 2 packets. There's the audit, the big one. We're going to skip. If you guys want copies of this, you can get it from Lee. They're available for anybody that wants a copy. Thanks to Earl, Lee, the finance team. We did get them caught up. We did 3 audits in like a year and a half-ish. Lee's sick of seeing me, so I'll give you like 5-6 months off. I mean, 3 minutes or less. I'll give you the real quick and dirty, guys. Audit the statements. Since you guys get federal funding, since you spend over $750,000 of federal funding, we audit that as well. There's no non-compliance on that. It's a clean audit, unmodified opinion, highest level of assurance we can give you. We audited the ARPA funding, which you spent the rest of that, maybe had a little bit more. But that's all been spent, and that was a clean audit on that. No disagreements with Earl or Lee. There were no contentious matters. We were not made aware of any fraud or illegal acts. You know, and one thing to brag about, Lee, the statements that we present to you guys, there's no corrections to them. They are uncorrected. In other words, like, these are the same numbers she's given you guys throughout the year. We didn't have any adjustments, so she does a good job with the books here. And that's the 3 minutes or less. I think that's right at 3 minutes, Lee. I could bore you guys if you wanted me to get into the big packet, but that's the quick version.
Yeah. And the packets, he gave you their audit summary that they do. And for the public, the audit itself will be available on our website today or tomorrow when I get a chance to get that updated.
Thank y'all for having us. Thank you.
Good.
Let's entertain a motion to accept or to reject this, and then we'll find out if there's any questions for our auditor. So, Chair, entertain a motion. You accept?
Let's forget it. I move that we accept the fiscal year 25 audit presentation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Secretary, all right. His first comment needs to be thanks to you and your firm for getting us caught
Catch
up.
us up.
This building, I was on Zoom meeting, and this one, a lot of years across the state, it's amazing. Some of them still a year or 2 years behind.
Sure.
They're all done, and our discussion was that to propose a legislative bill to give cities more time to get these things completed, right? You want to say thanks?
Sure. Thanks, Mayor.
Any other questions or comments from the commission?
I know in the past, sometimes there's been like just recommendations, kind of none.
We don't have any. So we do assess the internal controls of the city. We don't opine on them, but there were no recommendations or findings in that. We had one maybe the first year on some of the cash. We've got that all kind of ironed out now as far as kind of the recons for cash, excuse me. But no findings, no recommendations, a clean, unmodified opinion.
Excellent.
This was a lot of work, definitely, for their firm, so we appreciate your all's energy and willingness to stay with us when you're obviously being pulled in different directions and given the times of year you've worked on the project, so we appreciate that. And Lee, good job, specifically, you know, how hard it is. Think of your bill list and how many transactions we have, and to not have to do any corrections as the year ends is, you know, there's not many times in my 25 years that the city's not had to make corrections, and so let's give her a lot of credit and thanks for that.
I second that, but, so, I'm going to carry the motion. All those in favor of accepting this report, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Sure. Thanks, Mayor.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
guys. Appreciate it.
See you back here soon. Not soon.
6 months.
Next, Mr. Tommy Barton, our Parks and Rec Director, is a little project update.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. I got kind of 2 meetings in one. I think everybody here has 2 meetings in one, so I'll try to keep it as quick as I can. I'm going to kind of go 3 different subjects here, so I'll stop in between and you can ask questions in between each. Wanted to start with an update on the capital projects we have going on in this fiscal year. First off, we have the baseball, softball field rehab of 3 fields. That project is 90% complete with 10% to go, but that 10% was going to be tough because of now we've got frozen ground that's going to thaw out with a lot of snow. So the ground's going to be rough. We might not be able to use big equipment on it. And I hate to say it, I wish everything would melt, but then freeze again. But I don't think anybody else would like that, but that would be good for me. But we see that project. We actually have our first baseball game scheduled in less than 3 weeks. So hopefully we'll meet that goal. Alum Springs Mountain Bike Park has got an official name now. It's going to be called Pine Knob Trails. The groundbreaking's been completed, and they've begun work on the trails, but you won't really see it, and because what they're doing is they're starting from the top of the hills down, so they're working their way down. Now, obviously, me and Josh actually traipsed up there the day before the snow came, and they were out there working, but we couldn't find them because it's a lot. It's a lot. But obviously, with this snow, they've had to stop work. But that doesn't mean we haven't been working. We've been working on an operations budget for the Mountain Park that we're going to be presenting come budget time to the city and to the county. We're working on signage and staffing and just kind of the overall operations of the park. I talked with Julie at the county about the pickleball court. They did provide us with the most recent construction docs. There are a few changes to be made to that, but within a few weeks, that project will go out to bid, and then we're waiting on the weather for that project, which is kind of all these statements are waiting on the weather. The skateboard park at Millennium Park, we're in the design stage. We should have 2 to 3 design options that are going to be presented to staff with a few tweaks in the next week or two, and then we'll be presenting it to the community on February 24th at Ginny Rogers. So they'll have a few different designs. It might not be the final design, but it's hoping to get us there that after that meeting, we should be able to fold it all into one final design and then start. What they'll do is they manufacture the features in their Texas facility, and then, of course, when the weather breaks, then they'll start work here. So we haven't pushed it back any. We're still hoping on September finish on that skateboard park. The main playground at Millennium Park, we have all the replacement parts in stock at the warehouse of our contractor. And again, he's waiting on weather, and then which means we're going to replace some of the small features. And then the main part of that is doing a rubber finish instead of the wood chip safety surfacing. So again, weather permitted, that one should be completed well before June, I would think. Site furnishings at Millennium Park, we have the cameras we have the updated cameras done. We have every building has a posted AED installed, and now we're just waiting for the doors to be manufactured, and then they will be replaced. As far as the hospital MOA agreement on the indoor rec, right now we have a public survey that the public's invited to take a survey. We've had over 500 people already participate. Josh and I have looked it over, but then we had Branstead or Carroll. They had a team of 3 at each basketball site this Saturday questioning with the public. So we had a team at Perryville, a team at Tolliver, a team at Ginny Rogers, and a team at KSD, kind of questioning the community about what they would like to see in that agreement. Do they like the idea of working with the hospital and stuff? So we should have the data from that going over that at our next meeting on February 20th. So in recap, the MOA teams are meeting on February 20th, and the skateboard park public input is going to be on February 24th. If you'd like to attend any of those, I don't think we've set a time yet, but we can get that to you if you'd like to be there. So I wondered if you guys had any questions on any of the capital improvement projects that we've slated for this year.
Tommy, could you remind me again where the pickleball courts are going to be?
The pickleball courts are actually redesigned. The pickleball courts are going where the skateboard park is now.
Oh,
and the
okay.
skateboard park is kind of moving all over to the west side.
Okay.
In the notch we're trying to leave as much space in the middle as possible if we're going to expand and build something else there.
Thank you.
So basically right there by the baseball fields is where they're going to go.
Any other questions?
Great. Okay, well, I'd like to talk a little bit about the 4th of July celebration. Kind of stalling a little bit. Former Judge Exec Tony Wilder was hoping to be here, but I think the 3 o'clock time threw him off a little bit. He might be coming a little later, so if he shows up and you would like to question some of his stuff, you can throw him up here. I've been working with Tony, so I can kind of go over all the stuff that we've got going on in order to do the 250th celebration. Tony is in charge of that committee, and we're talking an Eddie Montgomery concert on July 3rd at Millennium Park, a free concert with an opening act. We are working with a professional parking, professional security, professional sound and equipment, all working through all the details on that. We're hoping to keep, our idea is to keep, if we're expecting anywhere between 5,000 and 10,000 people. I mean, it's a free concert at Eddie Montgomery. It could be huge. So we've decided that we're going to try to keep cars out of Millennium Park on the 3rd. So we're hoping to work with Morning Point and all the schools, parking lots there, and we'll have a professional parking group that are going to park them in that big grassy field right there on Cunningham Way. The stage, we have a professional stage that have done the Balloon Festival for. So we have, according to his rider, we've got the size of stage he needs, a really big stage. It's going to be set there right kind of where we have the Lung and Heart trailer at. And again, that was one of the reasons we put the Lung and Heart trailer there in Forsyth, because we had them bring electric over to it, and that electrics is what's going to power the stage. So the stage will be sitting in the soccer fields, looking over. All the soccer fields will be where the crowd is, and the football field. So if you're standing on stage, you're kind of looking right where the fireworks are going to be shot off at the fairgrounds, if that makes sense. Well, we'll have a, when we get Tony here, we'll kind of do a display and show you. We looked at the display, and it really didn't make sense to us earlier.
Hey, Tommy, I put, just, let me hop in and talk
Sure.
about the 250th for a second. I put the full detail at the very back, last 3 or 4 pages of the city manager report that was added. He's got some budget numbers in there. One of the things that we were going to talk about was the actual budget for the event. If you recall, during the budget process last year, you did put some money in the budget for this event. What we are going to suggest to you is we're going to proceed with a budget that you all allocated up to $40,000 in the short term and continue to work in that direction. But we can communicate that. You'll see on the very last page of the city manager report how the budget's broken out. Right now, Boyle County Fiscal Court's already given them $33,000. We expect them to match that amount again. He's raised $40,000 from 3 or 4 local folks, and he's got $6,500 in terms of grant. And so the city of Danville right there is blank in that sheet when you go look at it. And so what we would expect is, and we will fill that in with a $40,000 number, and out of the budgeted amount. You put in the budget $50,000, but we do expect to have some in-kind expenses and some direct expenses, and so we're comfortable suggesting $40,000 at this time. And so, floor is yours, Tommy.
Sure, thanks. Yeah, Tony had the money numbers. I'm just kind of going on all our meetings. The other thing that we're doing is bringing in a professional security firm that basically has suggested what we do is we rope off the first soccer field, and that first soccer field will be no coolers and no chairs. So that's kind of like your standing room only. But behind that, people can set up chairs, can have coolers, stuff. We will have food, a lot of food trucks. We've doubled the amount of food trucks, and we will also be having West Coast Brewery there as we won't be serving hard alcohol, but we will have beer on for the festival. I believe the concert's to go till like 9:30. The only thing we haven't quite worked out yet is we are going to work with the prison on cleanup, and hopefully be using some kind of inmate program to do the cleanup, which we're going to work on that. Because what we're going to do is we're getting into the festival business here. Because what we're doing is the next day, we're going to spin it all and turn it all back around and do it again. Since we had the stage and sound there, we've asked them to keep it there for the 4th, where we are also going to do all of our usual celebrations, which are, we do the bounce houses, we do the paint the park, we do several games and have the food trucks, but we're also having a Cal Ripken State Tournament on the 3rd and 4th at Millennium Park too. So just
What?
piling it on. So yeah, I'm serious. Yeah. So that'll all be going on. They will have parking vouchers that will be allowed to park on the 3rd. But just for the public safety, coming on the 3rd, you won't be parking in the park. On the 4th, we will go back to the usual where they can come in and park in the park. We are going to have Michael Fly and the Sound is going to be our headliner that night, local group, and they'll be leading us up to the fireworks. Obviously, it's not going to be as huge as the extravaganza on the 3rd, but we're hoping just kind of bring it home to a hometown kind of feel on the 4th. So that's about all I got on the 4th celebration. Do you have any questions on that, if I hadn't got any on that?
Any questions from the commissioners? Earl, I like that budget line that's at 0. It could stay 0 till the 8th or 9th of July. That'd be great. Don't give in yet.
Tony might show up here in a bit if you had any questions.
No, you did good. We don't-
Okay. To move on, the last thing, last but not least, one of our biggest projects that Josh and I have been working on this fall and winter is recruiting a new daycare tenant for Jeannie Rogers Community Center. We did a long vetting process, and we are happy to announce Wren's Nest Daycare, currently operating out of Harrodsburg, was awarded the contract, and I have their owner and partners here, and I guess I could say family too, right? Yeah. So I'd just like to introduce, if you've got I'll let them speak for themselves. They're hoping to open in April. One of the great things about them, they're going to be using our full kitchen, so they'll be feeding the kids breakfast, lunch, and snacks. And talking to Nick, from our prior daycare, we hope to serve 4 times the amount of kids that we were serving. So without that, I'd like to introduce Nick, Melissa, and Cassidy from Wren's Nest Daycare.
You said the whole family. didn't you?
Hi.
How you doing?
I don't know if you remember me, Mr.
Be
Atkins.
careful. Be real careful now.
It's a good thing. I have a wonderful memory of you. I worked for you in Tolliver 28 years ago. You interviewed me for a assistant teacher in the special ed room, and it was a wonderful experience.
I was just 13 then, by the way.
I know, right? You are very youthful, yes, very young, as you still are. So I am Melissa Wren. I'm here with my handsome son and his lovely wife, Cassidy. We are the Wren family, and we are very proud to be from Danville, Kentucky. Rodney, who is actually sporting possibly a couple of broken ribs himself from a fall from the ice. He's at home. Feeling a little under the weather, but he is from Bull County, and of course he found me at church camp many, many years ago, and he moved me to Danville as where we started our family. So Nick and his sister Kaylin, we raised them right here, just a few miles down from Jeannie Rogers, and they went to school at Jeannie Rogers. And so this has just been a absolutely wonderful opportunity. When we heard about this, he and I had been talking. We're like, I think we need to do this together as a family. And so we threw this proposal together with a lot of teamwork, and you all accepted it graciously. Thank you for that. I want to say that personally, that it's more than just a daycare. These are our children. This is our community, and we want to give them a special place to grow. And Jeannie Rogers just holds such a special place in my heart. Our kids went to school there. As I said, we were joking about how we were sledding down that hill. You know, my kids would drag their sleds out, and we would go down Jeannie Rogers Hill. So We are ready to go. We've been putting a lot of work into it. We've ordered the furniture, and just really excited. Our waiting list is growing, and I just want to thank you. That's really the whole point of coming here today. I'm gonna let you ask us any questions you might have, and they've got all their numbers in a row. I'm the heart. He's the head. And so it's all great, but thank you again, really. I'm excited about this. And we're going to have our open house. We'll talk more about that later. You'll see that on our Facebook page. Come follow us, and you'll see we're going to have an open house, and we invite all of you to come walk through it with us and see what we've done, okay? So, yeah, any questions?
Well, first of all, we want to say thanks to you all for stepping up.
Yeah.
And I should say welcome back to Denver, but welcome home. And we're excited especially about the number of
Yeah.
potential
Yeah.
children
Yep.
that you'll be caring for.
So
Thank
you
you all.
have a full house plus a waiting list now?
We go ahead. We're not quite to full house. Our waiting list is getting there. It will be
Okay.
full. We will be full pretty close to day one. Our rollout's gonna be like, whoa, there's gonna be quite a few, but yes, we will be full, yeah.
That's great.
And we're
yeah.
going to have a tiered rollout just to ensure smoothness in that endeavor. We don't just want to open day one with 160 kids, right? That's not
That's
going
right.
to do anybody any favors. And so we plan on rolling this out.
Unless y'all
smoothly,
wanna come out and
efficiently.
help us. Yeah.
Yeah. More hands, less work.
I got some city commissioners I want to enroll in the program.
We do hope to have down the road, I'm a dreamer. So we have some ideas about having some really good, robust volunteer work. So you're all
Yeah,
welcome
good.
to
Yeah,
volunteer and
yeah,
come out and
yeah.
read books to kiddos and
See?
play with them.
Sounds
But
good, yeah.
I think that it's gonna be really great. Yeah.
Well, I think it has so much potential, and I'm glad you all are taking this on and taking it to where we thought it could go. So looking forward to that.
Okay. Any comments from staff? Other comments? Some will tight schedule. I shouldn't ask him, right?
He said,
Wow. Well, again, thank you all.
yeah,
and
appreciate
welcome.
it very much.
Thank you very much.
And
Thank you.
do come back and see us between now and the time you
We
open
will.
up.
Yeah,
Feel free
we'd love to
back.
come when we're getting a little closer.
All
Yeah.
right. And if you see Tom Poland coming,
We've had some good conversations.
I
with
bet
Tom.
you have.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
our
he said he's
man.
somewhere warm during all this.
Yeah, I told him, I said, I don't want to hear from you till you're cold. You're back here in Kentucky cold with us.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Thank
One
you
of
so
the
much.
great reasons we went with the Wren's Nest is you know, they're keeping their daycare in Harrodsburg open, so it's not like they're just shutting down and moving. They're expanding their facilities, and which also helps because you're bringing on extra staff and they're getting trained at the Harrodsburg location, and then they're going to move over here and they'll have two staffs that they can kind of jumble around to both places. So it's going to be a nice partnership. So I appreciate it. Yeah. And then I guess my resolution is the next on there. So in your packets, I believe you have a contract with Pyro Shows for $29,998.50. This is the fireworks show. This is the same company we used last year, which I think we had great results from. I think everybody said we had one of the best fireworks shows we've had in a long time with them. And I think one of the reasons is I guess you'd call the what do they call them? The head pyrotechnic on the show is actually a local here who lives in Danville. Kids go to Boyle County, so he wants to do it right. In his email, he promised me it would be better than last year, but tariffs are big on these products, and that's kind of why the price went up a little bit. And when I mentioned the 250th anniversary, he said he'll make sure that he throws some stuff in for that also. So I'm asking for approval of the contract for fireworks.
Okay, the chair would entertain a motion to approve resolution 2026-02-0901, fireworks contract. Is there a motion?
Second.
All right. Any questions or comments about the contract? Hearing none, all those in favor of awarding this contract, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Tommy.
Thank you all.
All right.
And there's Tom.
There's he. My cap was just not up. You're going to jump in?
Oh, no, you don't need to jump in. Okay.
For me, Mr. Mayor?
No, sir, we're going on to codes enforcement. Just sit right down.
Yeah, you go ahead and jump up.
Hey, whoa, whoa, stop.
I'll be glad to honor anything you say, Mayor, I promise.
You want to try to up him one time?
No, I can't up
He
here.
did it in about a minute, so let's.
How'd he do? How'd he do, by the way?
Yeah.
You talk about the concert.
We-
A little bit, but if you want to.
We approved a budget of 0.
Well, forgive me for being late. I was not aware of the special call meeting. I thought it'd be 4:30. So I beg your pardon. I think I had a good meeting last week with City Manager Coffey, and I presume that he has shared with you some information that I presented him. And first of all, the first thing I want to do is all of our commissioners and many of our government officials will be invited to a formal kickoff for the 250th on February 23rd, Monday at 1 o'clock. It will take place at the square, Constitution Square, in the old courthouse, replica of the old courthouse. We'll talk about our formalized array of events that we have planned for everyone. We have some special guests. We'll even have some musical entertainment. So it's going to be a special day. So I hope everybody will mark their calendar for Monday, February 23rd at 1 o'clock. And let's hope weather is permitting. You may remember when I appeared last, we had a sort of a tentative schedule of events. All those events that were presented to you prior will be occurring, with one added. And it's a very special event that I'm very proud that we're able to arrange. The first week in March, I kind of wanted to hit this on Black History Month, but the opportunity presented itself on the first week in March in conjunction with Frank X. Walker's Arts Festival during the week. I had, over the Christmas break, had purchased and read Frank's latest book, Load In 9 Times. I was fascinated by it. And how his research produced those wonderful poems written by African-American soldiers during the war is amazing to me. And I thought that should be a part of our 250th commemoration. And it fits right into the week. It's on the heels of Black History Month. And it also showcases a gentleman who has become quite the literary figure. And I have just a small sliver, Mr. Mayor, and you could probably claim this too. I was his student teacher in 1979, so I'm going to claim a little credit. I taught him history and government. So hopefully that burned him on to some of the things he's doing today. But we're going to sponsor this along. He will be there doing some readings from his book. He will also elaborate more, hopefully, about how he acquired these wonderful poems and tells the story of his own family, his own lineage. Many people know that Camp Nelson is so important in our history here for our African-American forebears in this community. Camp Nelson was a way to enlist from here, and many, many families did, including Frank Walker's family. And he will be talking about that. And we will also have Stephen Fawn, who is the curator and director at Camp Nelson, there present as well, and another history professor who I cannot name at this moment, but Mr. Bo List, who is Danville High School's dramatic arts teacher and coordinator, has set this up. We've met many times, and so I just wanted to present that as the newest, and that's March 3rd. March 3rd at 7 p.m. And we will continue on with, on March 17th with our showing of the film Shot Heard Around the World. On April 25th, we will have an evening with Abraham Lincoln at Forkland, which is very significant to that area, and hope everyone from Danville goes down and experiences the Forkland. If you haven't been to the Forkland Festival, you need to go. If you haven't met a lot of those folks from Forkland, you need to meet them, because those folks down there are special people.
Tony, real quick, in the packet on the city manager report, these dates are listed, so
Yeah.
you don't necessarily have to jot them down if you're trying to keep
Right.
up. They're actually on the handout that we've got included, just FYI. Go ahead, Tony, you're doing
Thank
the
you.
best.
Thank you, City Manager. And the McDowell night was featuring, a lot about Sam McDowell. It's on May 9th. You see those dates. Pioneer Playhouse, the Iron Baby Angel production will go June 30th through July 18th. There was another proposed event in your original presentation that I'm not sure is going to take place now involving the Governor's Scholars. Still may be an outside chance on that one. And then, of course, July 3rd is our concert with Eddie Montgomery, our own Eddie Montgomery. The parade is promising to be a really neat experience for everybody. And I want to thank Melanie, who you all know very well, who is heading that up for us. It's promising to be a great parade. We're also going to have some music that day on the square. At Travelers Rest, Isaac Shelby's home, we'll have that Kentucky Long Rifle, Flintlock Rifle competition and demonstration and exhibit. And then, of course, fireworks on July 4th. We will probably be inserting some locality things, regional little community things in between, but those are our main events for the whole commemorative time that we're doing this for the 250th. I think we've got a very diverse number of events. They include county schools, city schools, represent our cultural identity, talks about it. I think we hit on some things that really mean something to our history, and we're proud of it. I'm proud of the committee. Those ideas were generated among ourselves, and we were able to put that to paper, and I'm hoping we've got it on paper to be planned. I hope we can execute it all to the satisfaction of everybody.
Looking forward to it.
Oh, sounds good.
And let me also say how proud I am of how both governments have embraced this, because I think it is a once-in-a-50-year experience, and I think it is highly appropriate that both governments are partnering with us on this. And we have some other private partners who are really assisting us as well. But as a former lifetime public servant, I just wanted to convey how much I appreciate that. And we're glad to do it, and we hope we represent our community very well.
Well, thank you, sir. That sounds good.
All
Sounds
right.
great,
Now,
really.
did you talk about the concert? Okay, so all that's been covered?
Yeah.
Okay, I appreciate it.
All right.
Sorry
Thanks,
for the
Tony.
tardiness.
Now, Tony? Tony?
Yes.
One thing sit down. One thing you mentioned is this, though. He informed us that you were going to be the headliner opening up for.
Thank you for the time.
All right. Any questions for Tony? Mr. Wilder, our chairperson? Hearing none, oh my God, look at what time it is. What? Codes enforcement. How'd you get up so early on the agenda? Really? I bet you're not. Shoot, man. We're still on in case you're wondering, we're still on the first page, about 1/3 of the way down the first page. Where'd he go? Oh.
Let you finish, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, thank you all for having me. I'll try to make this as quick as possible. I know y'all are on a time. So just a few things for the codes report that we've been working on over the last couple months. I kind of threw December's in here too, where we kind of missed a meeting. The weather's been pretty rough on us. 1012 Ridgeway has been a resident that we've been dealing with quite a while. We were able to, unfortunately, we had to condemn the residents, but it worked out good for the homeowners and us as well, because it was sold and it has been since remodeled, and they're giving me a time frame of probably in the next week and a half, 2 weeks, it'll be ready to rent back out. So
Wow.
it's I've went over and visited it several times. It looks great.
Good,
It looks like a new home.
Good.
410 Earl Street, we've had some issues there that residents have sold, and it is also, will be finished at the end of this week. They will be finished up with remodel on that, that location. There's, we've worked with the new owners, and we were able to occupy that, one of those apartments with one of our homeless gentlemen that we've been working with, so I think that worked out good for everyone. 500 Locust Street, that was sold and is in the process of remodeling. 105 Wilderness Apartment Building, it's in the process of being remodeled. He's got several jobs going on at once, but he's starting to really take off on the Wilderness Avenue apartments that we condemned, I believe it's two and a half years ago, 2 years ago maybe. So 209 Orchard is a condemned residence. We've been working on with the owner of that. The owner is deceased. The daughters have taken over the property, but it's being held up in court a little bit. But that is in the process of possibly being sold here soon, and getting that remodeled and making that neighborhood look better. We've been working at 724 South 2nd Street, abandoned two-story residence that it has been condemned and it needs to be demolished. We're waiting on contractors' quotes to get that demolished and hope to start on that maybe early July. We are working with the landowner to get some semi-trailers moved off the corner of the road at the intersection of Lebanon Road and Quisenberry Avenue. That's been brought to my attention a couple of times. There's some old semi-trailers that are parked there, and it's blocking view. So we have contacted the landowner there, and we're working on getting those semi-trailers moved.
You said Lebanon Road and?
In Quisenberry. Just as soon as you turn on Lebanon Road, it's those semi-trailers that are parked there on the left. So we are working on getting those moved out. The weather has slowed us down, but we have talked to them and working on getting those moved. So the old Dallas building on Sycamore Street, it is finally under construction. They're remodeling it. We're seeing some progress there. We're staying on them. Hopefully get that up and remodeled and looking better. We've been working on homeless camp cleanups, numerous encampments within the city limits. There's it has become a problem, but we're working slowly on getting some of those old campsites cleaned up, and unfortunately a lot of that falls on the landowners, but we're trying to help them as much as we can to get that done. We've had multiple abandoned vehicles moved from the city property within the last couple of months. So we've been a little lenient with the weather, but we're going to start picking back up. It's starting to warm up. The ice is melting, so we'll get back on that. I know there were some complaints about city sidewalks being cleaned. Me and the city manager, Mr. Earl Coffey, talked about that. I had talked to several of the business owners, and who are all very welcoming and understanding that it's important that we, if possible, we keep our sidewalks cleaned off. During severe weather events, though, a lot of times it becomes difficult or dangerous for them to do so. So we're understanding with that as well. We certainly don't want anybody getting hurt. That's the last thing we want to have to deal with. But I've talked to several of the business owners that own sidewalk frontage or have sidewalk frontage in front of their businesses, and have explained to them snow, especially snow, try to keep that removed from the sidewalks to make it safe for our Danville people so they can walk. They love to walk here, so we're gonna continue to work with them and make sure that those sidewalks stay cleaned off if possible.
We appreciate his effort. He's had to give a lot of attention to the sidewalks and the snow Particularly when the governor declares a state of emergency, you're not really allowed to enforce the cleanup, the code violation. And so we just have to let that sit. And we do the best we can with the street removal and debris removal. Areas where there's parking, if a car is left on the sidewalk, in this particular event, if the street was plowed, and then it froze over that Sunday evening, that was a difficult dig out. And certainly we wanted to be sympathetic with that, but
Right.
given the nature of our equipment, we're limited with how to manage that. All those became issues through the storm. We sincerely appreciate the community's patience with giving Public Works the room to do work. I think folks tried their best to stay inside. I think folks that were impacted by impassable sidewalks were very patient and gave neighbors the opportunity to make corrections as weather enabled them to do that. But we know we're still fighting ice and hoping the temperatures today and tomorrow will give us room on it.
So who's responsible for the Main Street sidewalks? Is that
The business owners.
They
The
are,
business
okay.
owners, yes.
Okay. I didn't know since,
And I actually
ours,
brought a
we
copy
do
of that, of the paperwork explaining that. Again, they are responsible to clean off their frontage, their
Okay.
sidewalks, but when it comes to a point where, it's dangerous, when you've got 1.5 inches of ice overnight, we certainly don't want them hurting themselves either.
right, yeah. no,
And,
I agree.
he mentioned Public Works, give a huge shout out to those guys. They worked so hard over the last couple of weeks, and they've done a magnificent job keeping our roads clean and even helping me, if I've had troubled, areas, even a couple of sidewalks that the business owners couldn't help, those guys come out, they help me. So give them a huge shout out. I mean, they've worked tirelessly over the last couple of weeks. And I want to end things with just some numbers. In December of '25 through the end of January '26, 94 city property liens were collected for those months, totaling $7,086 and a penny. Tiffany is doing a great job in that office, working tirelessly, helping me to get with people and collect these property liens, and not only collect them, but getting some of these properties that have liens on them sold, and we're collecting a lot of them that way. So Tiffany's working really hard and doing a really good job. Parking citations were down a little bit for the month of December and January. I mean, we've had horrible weather, and we don't want our parking enforcement getting hurt either. But where he lacked in writing of citations, I went down there to check on him, and he had a shovel and he was scraping ice, and we had a couple of issues with some graffiti, and he took it upon himself to go get paint and paint and fix that. So I want to give Nick Bowden a big shout out with our parking garage. He really takes a lot of pride in keeping that parking garage clean and safe. But I did want to mention that there was 194 total citations and 12 warnings wrote in 2025, totaling a little over $7,000. So he stays really busy. He does a good job. My code officer, I got Mr. Ian Young. He does. Them guys work hard to make the city look good, and I think they're doing a great job. But if there's any questions, I'd be more than glad to answer them.
Any questions?
No, appreciate the report.
Good
Thank you.
report.
All right, thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Next item on our agenda is the first reading of ordinance 2061, compensation classification plan. Mr. Boyd?
All right, thank you, Mayor. Yeah, in front of you have a memo from staff requesting some amendments to the compensation plan, primarily in 3 departments, which would be the police, fire, and the finance departments, based on evaluation by staff of organizational changes needed. In summary, these changes would have a cost impact of $6,714 for the remaining of the budget year, which can be absorbed through budgeted unfilled positions throughout fiscal year '26. So staff's recommending acceptance of those changes as presented in the memo.
Okay, thank you, sir. Is there a motion to accept the compensation classification plan amendment?
I move for approval of ordinance number 2061.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second? Thank you, ma'am. I guess the important thing, no additional, no increase in official staffing, right?
Correct, yes, which ties into item number 9 on the agenda as well.
Oh, okay.
So that'll cost us $6,700 the first year, and then, what was it, 18,000 subsequently?
It would be, and we will address and balance that through when we begin building out the personnel budget for fiscal year '27. Yes, sir.
All those in favor of ordinance 2061? Oh, I'm sorry. Madam Clerk, you want to read that for me?
Yes. This is the first reading of ordinance number 2061, and ordinance amending CDO 2-96 pertaining to the classification plan, compensation plan, and policies and procedures for city personnel.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I guess I'm ready for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Caudle,
Yes, ma'am?
Mayor Atkins.
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Saris.
Thank you. Mr. Board, you have the next item,
All right, thank you, Mayor.
2026-02?
Yes, so this is the amendment to the authorized position list in conjunction with the compensation plan. Just to clarify, to answer your question, the city has 182 authorized positions. These recommended changes would not change the quantitative amount, so those positions will stay the same, but again, those changes are highlighted in the memo that was provided to you.
Is there a motion to approve Resolution 2026-02? Make that motion? Thank you, ma'am. Is there a
I will
second?
second that.
Thank you, sir. Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Mr. Board again.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Yeah, so the city utilizes Paylocity as its HRS software, which includes time and labor attendance to track hours for payroll. So as such, the city has created a new physical location for sewer collections. Essentially, they've moved in the old Public Works building on 4th Street. Thus, we need to purchase a new time clock for that facility, along with purchasing an additional backup time clock in case one of the other facilities go down, which we used to have, but we've cycled that out last year to Jenny Rogers. And so it does require an amendment to the Paylocity contract. So the total cost of those 2 time clocks would be $2,575, which I also will say these time clocks are a good investment. We did our initial purchase 5 years ago and have yet to have to replace one of those, so they're very durable.
I forgot, I thought we leased those. No, we've never leased them?
No, we purchased those as part of the agreement, yes. And again, they're, like I said, they're very durable. We purchased, about 10, I believe, when we originally went to that software in 2021, and we've not had to replace any yet.
Thank you, sir. Is there a motion?
Move that we approve resolution 2026-020903.
Thank you, sir. And there's a second. Thank you, ma'am. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Ms. Phillips, you're up next.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. Upon review of our DOE copier contracts, we have several contracts with DOE for our copiers throughout the city. We realized that some of the contracts had been signed by department heads instead of the mayor, and we know that the mayor is the one authorized to sign those things. So this resolution is just going to clean up those contracts and have the mayor re-sign all of them. We're just asking approval to.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a motion to approve?
That's what Audrey said.
All right.
Second.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Any comments or questions?
Mayor,
Hearing
just
none?
the city manager's pointed out to me that I did use the Latin phrase at the end of that, so just because you probably haven't seen that before, we're asking that be, those orders, or those contracts rather, be signed nunc pro tunc, which just
I thought you had a stroke. I didn't know what that.
I think that's what the city manager thought as well. That's just Latin for then as in now. And so that's just a common legal term. So it's the way to post-date something legally. It's entered today as if it were then.
Yeah, got you.
Thank you.
Learned something.
Yeah, you always do. All those in favor of approving Resolution 26020904, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Madam Clerk, the next one as well.
Yes, we received a request from Mr. and Mrs. James Lester to buy back the graves that he and his wife had purchased in 2004. The cost to purchase these graves back from the Lesters is $858, and we're just asking that you all approve the buyback.
Is there a motion?
I'll move that we approve Resolution 2026-090205.
Is there a second? Thank you all. Any questions?
Do we pay them what they paid way back when, or current? I've forgotten how
No,
we do that.
the deed states that we have to give them current market value.
Oh, okay.
So what they paid, I believe, they paid $792 back in 2004, so
Okay.
it's
Gotcha.
a
I was just
slight
curious.
increase.
Okay,
Thanks.
great question. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. City Manager report.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. We'll try to get through this efficiently. The important dates, we would ask that you strike the 17th of their, listed as the budget kickoff meeting. We'll have to adjust that date based on some feedback we got today. Would remind you that February 25th is the City Day in Frankfurt. For those of you who want to attend, we'll have a couple of appointments with the legislators that morning. Then, putting this on your radar, March 14th is 100 Years of Women event at Center College, and I know Melanie's working really hard to support that, and certainly we want to encourage disruptions, of course, the winter weather. We did get an opportunity to meet and talk briefly about the draft Parks Agreement update. It's in your packet. We will continue to work through that. If you have any questions on it, you're welcome to reach out. We met with the county judge. We met with the mayor and the county judge present to try to work through that language. And we think we'll be able to bring back something finished by the second meeting of February, weather permitting. The garbage contract, we just leave it on there just to put it on your all's radar. We continue to think about that. Financial update. The biggest thing is the budget calendar is attached. We are going to adjust the 17th. We'll probably do the 5th of March. And we will get a revised copy of this. That's the only date right now that it looks like we can adjust based on the feedback that I've gotten so far. But we will move the 17th to the 5th. It is a fairly dense calendar, but we do have a lot of conflicts towards the first and middle part of May, keeping in mind, too, that we have spring break where we lose a week in April. So ultimately, we think that we'll be done with the budget second reading of the 22nd of June, which is well in advance of the deadline, and hopefully we can get that done a week or so earlier. I believe that we'll have a draft completed well before then. But depending on audits and changes that you all would like to do, we will anticipate even with the conflicted schedule, meeting that schedule that's in that budget. But we'll get that out to you tomorrow. The Leading Ladies Luncheon is a new event that the Chamber of Commerce is hosting tomorrow. Is at noon at the Country Club. We would like to thank Melanie for supporting the new chamber director, Sarah Pollum, with putting this together. And so we'll be anxious to hear an update on that item. We'll leave everything else sit because it is a big agenda unless you all have specific questions.
I just want to thank Ms. Compton for getting a lot of these budget meetings scheduled for 1:00 p.m. in the afternoon. I know it's
I
her
did that all
influence.
by myself.
I appreciate you too, ma'am.
ju-
Usually you're on at 9:00.
The reminder that at the end of that city manager report is the 250th that Tommy and those guys were talking about. I don't want to not mention that.
Okay, let's go on then. Next item is it's the second time for Hear the Public, where the public can be recognized, come up and speak to us about things that are not on our agenda at this time. Is there anyone who wants to speak to the commission on items not on the agenda this afternoon?
Thought you were going to complain about meeting length, Lindsay. You weren't? She was going to complain about meeting length. She was going to get up here and get really angry at us.
She's
It
no
comes from
anger,
that-
right? Tell her no
Comes
anger,
from that
right?
text that you sent that said, "Kill me." I think that's the one.
Okay, let's move right along then. Next item is commissioner updates and comments. Any updates or comments from the commission?
I think it was touched on earlier, but the Public Works Department just, to me, knocked it out of the park. I've gotten more comments from people this time, I think, than I ever have, and several of them compared us to Lexington, because maybe they work there or whatever, and apparently they didn't get the job done like we did, and everybody's real appreciative of the effort. And how many do we put on the road for an event like that?
This particular event was a little hairier than normal. We did have a water main break that Sunday. The utility company was out. So while City Hall closed, the utility staff came in Monday at regular hours, just like normal. And we did deploy those folks in a couple different places to try to help. The small skid steers really helped in this particular storm. The concern we had was just the large boulders of ice that's laying there, and frankly, still laying there. So we'd urge folks, please use caution. Please don't hit those. Those can cause you to wreck or cause damage. But it was really all hands on deck. And so, but Rick and those guys, Rick was really, and Josh did a great job in terms of maintaining the working list of things undone. It began with some flooding. We had some flooding concerns that Sunday afternoon, if you'll recall, before it froze back. Things had gotten pretty wet. And so we, there was even a landscape fella that was finishing a parking lot. We had a pile in front of one of the entrances into a subdivision. He was kind enough, when I met with him there on the side of the road, he was kind enough to knock that out of the way. And we did see the benefit of that, little bit of effort by him. So we thank all the folks that worked to clear the parking lots, the sidewalks, the roads. This was a tough one. And certainly took everybody and all hands on deck.
Well, and I think it's important to thank Public Works, but at the same time, I think we need to not overlook the work that was done by all of our first responders too, because they were definitely busy during that time period as well. And really thank all city staff, because all city staff was hands on board, hands on deck. And unlike Commissioner Cottle, you hate to miss a positive phone call, but you just got so many. I just started letting them leave the message on the answer machine because it got some long messages. But people were very complimentary of the work that the staff was doing. And I want to reemphasize the fact that it's Danville, and our city staff and city public works and city first responders, it's just a normal routine for them. They're always doing good jobs, and it's really great when the public sees it and recognizes it and says something good about it. Because if it's not something positive, we definitely hear about it, but it was great to hear so many good comments about the work that was being done and the work that's still being done.
Police and fire responded as
Yes.
normal to calls.
Yeah.
And the dispatchers, we know that the MS, Sam Butler, helped transport dispatchers. And so it is a community effort to get folks to their post and their willingness to leave their homes and make sure that the phone's answered. It 100% takes all hands on deck.
Yeah. Appreciate that. Appreciate everybody. Okay, next item. Dang, we're just so numbered.
You gotta quit looking at that. We're already on number.
Payment of the bills for January 26, 2026. We missed that meeting. Is there a motion to pay the bills from January 26th. Oops. All right, thank you, ma'am. Is there a second?
I will second that.
Thank you all. Any questions or comments? Hearing none. All those in favor of paying the January 26, 2026 bill list, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. All those opposed, motion carries. Entertain a motion to pay the February the 9th, today's bill list. Is there a motion to pay today's bill list?
I will make that motion.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second? Thank you, ma'am. No comments? All those in favor of paying the February the 9th, 2026 bill list, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Ms. Compton, a financial update. You just had it? Oh,
Yes, okay. So this was scheduled for our last meeting. We're a little bit behind, but I've been trying to do a quarterly update every 3 months. So this is as of December 31st, 25. We just kind of wanted to go over where we're at in the budget for the public's sake, for our 3 larger funds, the general fund, utility funds, and our park and recreation funds. We don't put the PowerPoint on our website, but the more detailed version in your packet does get uploaded to our website. And these are as of the date of the reports and are subject to change just for the public's information, which is very, very common for financial reporting under governments until they're final at the end of the year. Just to remind us where we started at with our budget, total appropriations, which are your expenses for the year, are $74,450,016. 24.9 of that is in your general fund, which covers your police department, fire department, public works department, finance department, administration of the city. Your other funds that we'll cover today are your Park and Recreation Fund, which if you remember in the budget, this year it is $24,393,000 and $393,466. It included a $20 million potential capital improvement for indoor recreation so that we could begin those discussions with third parties to potentially partner on indoor rec. So mentally, you can take $22 million out of that 24. But for budget purposes, we did include that this year. And then your utility fund, total appropriations at $19,748,594, which includes about $12.5 million in operations for your water and sewer utility, and the remainder is capital improvements for the year. Your general fund revenues consist of 6 large categories: property taxes, your license and fees, penalties, service revenue, other revenue, and intergovernmental revenue. Your largest source of revenue is your occupational license and fees, which includes your payroll withholdings. It includes your net profit fees. It includes your insurance premiums. Also includes your alcohol taxes. Compared to budget, you're right on track as of December 31st at 56%. We're talking about this largest category here, your second column. That blue line is your budget. So that red line is where we're at as of December 31st. And then that purple line is where we were at compared to the same time frame last budget year. So we're exceeding last year by a smidge, which is what you want. And then we're right on track with our budget at right about 55%, which aligns with the cycles of our revenue and the time frame of the year. We are seeing a growth in our insurance premium slightly at about $300,000 compared to last year. And then you are seeing a growth in your occupational taxes, which we expected compared to budget, but compared to the prior year. Total revenue in your general fund as of December 31st is $13,450,000. So tracking slightly ahead of budget, but not by much. Your property taxes, which you see at that very first column, collections really began when folks are paying their property taxes in November. And we see those start to roll in December when we receive the funds from the sheriff's office. As of December 31st, you were at 64% collection for all property taxes. By the end of January, you're really at 80 to 85% total collections for the year. Most people like to take advantage of that discount, and 90% of people want to avoid paying the penalty that comes along with it. Your intergovernmental revenue is showing under compared to the prior year. That's your very far column. That is due to, that's where we collect grants. Last fiscal year, if you remember, we wrapped up all of our ARPA funds with a contribution to the EDA. And so that kind of had an outsized collection last year compared to this year. We do have a few grants budgeted in the current year for the general fund, but nothing as significant as that from last year. Your expenses for the general fund, total expenses as of December 31st were $12,818,167. In the detail within your online packet, you can see the individual department dollar amount compared to budget. Most of our individual departments with personnel are tracking slightly above budget at your 50% mark for December 31st. A lot of that can be attributed to December and July both having 3 pay periods in the year. Sometimes those cycles will unfairly look to accelerate your budget or, look like you've overspent your budget. Some of our contracts are also front-loaded into our year. For example, one for the finance department is a large contract with the PVA's office to produce our property tax assessments. That's a once-a-year contract that gets front-loaded into the finance budget. So a few of those things. No one is significantly over budget at December 31st, though we do keep an eye on everybody pretty significantly, especially the closer we get to the end of the year. Let's see, your capital budget it's only at about 27.38% of your budget. We have a few things that haven't gotten started yet. I think some roof repairs were scheduled in the general fund, and that's a timing thing. There's certain times of year it's better to re-roof than others. I'm trying to think of off the top of my head. We'll probably see that between now and March, catch closer to your actual budgeted amounts. Your debt service is on schedule. Your non-departmental allocations, some of those can skew because we don't do the transfers to other funds for capital expenses until later in the year, until we know closer to actuals what those will be. Some of the projects that we take on, for example, in parks, sometimes those will flow between fiscal years. And so it doesn't make sense to arbitrarily transfer those funds until we know what actual costs will be. Your utility fund. Your operating revenues consist primarily of your service fees for water and sewer, with a few other smaller charges to its budget. You also have some intergovernmental revenue for the utility fund and some loan and bond proceeds budgeted. We have not yet, as of December 31st, received any loan or bond funds. We've got a few projects Marshall's working on that we'll likely start to see come in. Those are really derived for capital projects once we've spent the funds to start work on a project. But those are, a few KIA loans are anticipated, and then potentially bond funds as necessary for projects. Operating revenue for the water is at $6,311,000 is your budget. We're at $3.3 million as of December 31st. Your sewer operations is at $6.27 as of December 31st for budget, and your total actuals are $3.2 million. Expenses in your general fund, similar to your general fund, you're going to see slightly elevated personnel cost as of December 31st due to payroll scheduling, but otherwise they're all on track compared to budget. Your total personnel operations, your total operations for the utility fund is at 54.35% of budget as of 12/31 at $4.9 million. Your debt service for the utility fund is on track. Your capital expenses, those are really based on construction cycles, so you do quote-unquote appear to be under budget in your capital projects, but are going according to the contracts, and nothing is significantly behind in that manner. Okay. Parks and Recreation. Their revenue is derived from a couple different sources. You have your city contribution from our general fund, service revenue through fitness center, things like that. You have your parks programs, which is your baseball, softball, sports programs that kids and adults participate in. You have some other minor recurring things, sponsorships, which Parks has really been working on in the last couple years. And then you have your intergovernmental revenue, which includes your contributions from the county and any other grants we may receive from other sources. As of 12/31, we have contributions from the general fund in the amount of $437,000. It does appear that's that first column significantly under your budget, but that's because it does include transfers for capital. And as we said, we will finish those later in the year once we know what the actual capital costs will be for the current year. Service revenue, it's not a huge category for parks, about $86,000 for the year, but we are on track at $41,000. Your park revenues are budgeted at $325,000 for the year. They have collected $181,000 as of December 31st. Those are slightly ahead of budget at 55%. Your other is a very minor category, $15,000 budgeted total. And then your sponsorships, we budget $50,000 for those for the year, and it's very hard to see that green, yellow color, but those really roll in the springtime. We get most of those then with baseball, softball. So we'll see a lot of those kick in toward March and through the end of June. Your intergovernmental revenues, like we said, consist of contributions from the county, which are on track. In the current year, they are budgeted to contribute about $390,000. And then compared to last year, it looks like we're a little under, but we did have a $100,000 grant by this time last year in the Parks Fund related to some playground equipment at Butler Park and Jackson last year? Jackson and Cowan, my apologies. Your expenses for the general fund. Your debt service, which is, the largest portion is related to vehicles, on track. Millennium Park, you are running right on budget. Total expenses for the year at $474,000. Fitness center, you are running a little ahead of budget. Sometimes that happens with the fitness center because that's where our day camp and fall break expenses hit. That one though, Tommy, we've talked and he's watching it pretty closely. Your pool budget is running at 60% of total budget. That's not uncommon, the way the pool cycles. You do have a lot of costs that come through July 1st through the end of the season, and kind of a shorter, where the season is split in our fiscal year, you have a shorter period on the front end. Community Parks is running under budget as of December 31st at 24%. Your Jenny Rogers budget is running slightly over budget. I will say this is our first full year budgeting at Jenny Rogers. So I'm going to say we just honestly haven't ironed out exactly how that flows just yet. There's probably stuff in the current year and in last year that we've, we need to do this at Jenny Rogers, and we didn't think about it when we created the original budget. Nothing outrageous. Total expenses year-to-date were $157,000. Your operating capital, which includes the projects above in the little chart with the exclusion of the indoor rec, you've spent about $83,000 as of December 31st. But we've got, Tommy's working on those projects he's mentioned, and I believe all of them other than, is the Jenny Rogers roof, is it underway? Jenny Rogers roof is underway, so we do have a budgeted project at, what is that, Butler Park this year, but those are grant funds, so we're waiting approval of those before we proceed with the work on that. So, very quick, the detail will be uploaded to the website for the public that are interested. Questions, comments, concerns, thoughts, prayers?
Any questions, commissioners? All sounded good after that audit report. Rick?
I always ask you, how do you think we're doing? Are we doing okay?
I do think we're doing really well. I think, and Earl and I have talked about this briefly, and we're going to talk about it a lot during budgets that are coming up soon. We did a less conservative revenue budget than we have in previous years with our general funds, and we are really seeing us hit closer to target on those, right? So you can look back in 2020 through 2023, 24 and see, well, we budgeted revenue at, base, and then we exceeded it by good, healthy amounts. And so in fiscal 25 and into 26 this year, we were less conservative with those revenue numbers, and so we are getting closer to being right on track with that. And so the consequence is that, as for instance, the personnel change that I requested that Randy just presented to you guys, we have to be more conservative, and I have to be sure to, I need to make sure we come in under budget in my budget somewhere to help account for that. Or I know, this is a revenue that we are going to start seeing more of, so we can kind of balance those out better. So I think just as a whole, we have to be more aware that we're not going to exceed our revenue projection as significantly as we had in the past. So overall, good. We just have to be aware of those things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Commissioner, we based a lot of those previous recommendations on some presentations we got to observe related to the financial space, right? We will hear more about that at the end of an update to that 5-year projection, the end of this month, the 26th and 27th, and we'll be able to provide kind of that information as we get it those days we'll give it to you on the 5th. So we'll give you a good update on what the banking institutions in our regions, what that summary recommendation is in terms of net profits and all those taxes and all those things that cities rely on.
Other questions? Thank you, ma'am. Next item is a request for KPDI disbursement request number 2. And Ms. Compton, you still have that one?
Yeah, Josh can update you guys on the status of the project itself, I think, if necessary. But the EDA, in conjunction with the Boyle County Industrial Foundation, has received the second round. We received the first round of the KPDI funds that the city and the county helped fund for improvements over by Stewart's Lane. They received a second round of the KPDI funds where the Industrial Foundation was providing the match. But the city is considered the grantee, and the EDA is the benefactor, and so we process these grant fund reimbursements through us. They've begun work on some construction work on that road. And so we need to approve this reimbursement in the amount of $99,826.63. And this will be just a pass-through that the city receives in from the state and gives directly to the EDA.
Thank you, ma'am.
I move for approval of Resolution 2026-020906.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second? Thank you, ma'am. Any questions to Ms. Compton? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Next item, Mr. Carrier, Perryville and Junction City wastewater improvements.
Mayor, can I take my first time out?
What's that?
Can I take my first time out?
Oh. What if I say no? Oh.
Then we're gonna have a situation.
Commissioner Collins asking for a 5-minute recess? All right. tried to get Ashley to order pizza, but she said no. Get it done, get her done. Whew. Okay, let's call ourselves back to order. Mr. Carrier, thank you for being patient. Resolution 2026-020907, Perville and Junction City wastewater improvements. Mr. Carrier?
Thank you, Mayor. January 16th, 2026, City of Danville opened bids for the Perville and Junction City wastewater improvements project. This project includes internal component improvements to the York Lane, Noblick, Perville, Old City Hall, and Leonard Field pump stations. Some of the improvements include pump station replacement, new safety access, electrical control equipment, and other modifications. We had two good bids. The city received two bids ranging from $1,284,436 to $1,810,000 even. Conhurst LLC was the low bid for the sum of $1,284,436. So the city recommends award to Conhurst LLC, and this is county ARPA money.
Okay, thank you, sir. Chair will entertain a motion to accept the staff recommendation. So moved. All right. Thank you all. Any questions? Josh, we worked with this company before?
Yeah, we've worked with Conhurst before. They actually did the sewer improvements along Ghost Pike that ties up behind the bypass center development. So that was the first contract that the city's had with them, and they've done pretty well. So we look forward to working with them in the future.
Okay, good. But there's a $500,000 difference in the bids?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay.
So it's always good to have additional bids in the room, so.
Well, yeah.
We had other interest also. It's just a couple ended up bidding on the job, so.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor of accepting staff's recommendation, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Marshall?
Thank you, Mayor. This agenda item is in regards to a request to approve acceptance of a loan offer from Kentucky Infrastructure Authority regarding the Clarks Run Phase 2 sewer project. This project consists of multiple large diameter gravity sewer line installations and appurtenances. This project was awarded to Hubert Construction, if you all recall, on the November 24th, 2025 City Commission meeting. This loan is for $5,626,195 from KIA. This is a 20-year loan. It's only a 0.5% interest loan, which is good. And then on top of that, $490,867 of that loan is forgivable. So the amortized loan amount is $5,135,328. In this project, this actually goes with an EDA grant of $1.99 million that we also have for the project.
Okay, thank you, sir. Is there a motion?
Move for approval of resolution 2026-020908.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second? Thank you, ma'am. Any questions from the commissioners? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Carrier. Look at old Josh, he's a man. You got the front page and the back page. All right, Josh, go for it, man.
All right, well, I'm going to do as quick a report as I can possibly do. I wanted to add about this last event we had. Public Works did a really good job, and it wasn't just like, I've been thinking about this. We have 81 miles of streets that we take care of. So it's not something that if it takes us time to do something, we're never going to get it done. So we have a routine with how we plow our streets. It's very built into how we do it, and it works really well. And the really important thing with this storm is we timed it right. And I put that towards their expertise down at the shop. Rick and those guys, they made a decision about when they were going to get on the roads and put the plows down and put the salt down. And we really nailed it perfectly. That Sunday that it was all coming down, there was a window of time where you had to get your streets clear before that second round of snow came in, or you were going to be in trouble. And I think this is one of those, you couldn't wait till Tuesday or Wednesday to start clearing it, you were going to have to excavate it then. You couldn't plow it. You had to dig it out. You can't dig out 81 miles of streets. You have to be able to plow it. So we nailed it. We got it all cleared out. And then that enabled us to spend the next 2 weeks just digging out sidewalks and digging out trouble areas and trying to get things cleared out. And I think that got a lot of the other towns. I think that's what got Lexington. They didn't get to those streets in the first couple of days, and they were done. They couldn't get to them after that. It was too late. So it really was about timing and having that routine built into how we do things. It worked out really well for us. So I'm really thankful for them. Really wasn't a lot of work for us. I kind of sat back and watched them work, and they did a great job. So we're really appreciative of that. So I did this report before the storm. This was supposed to be on the last meeting, so it's a little bit behind. I tried to update a few things on it to get it up to date. And I haven't done a report since July. That's the last time I did one. So I was a little bit behind. So there's a lot of stuff on here, a lot of projects that we were able to finish up in the fall. We got a lot of work done in that 2 or 3 month window when the weather was good. So here's some sidewalk projects. The Russell Street and Roy Arnold intersection, we put our first raised crosswalk in. We did this in-house with our staff. They did a great job. That was a really stressful crossing for Center College and their students as they came down out of the new athletic complex and going over to the fields they have south of Russell Street. So hopefully we've made things a little safer there. And so that we did that project. Man of War at the bypass, the state put in a crossing for us at that signal. And then we were able to add sidewalks on each side to at least get folks to those buttons that they could push to then be able to get the light to turn for them and give them time to cross. That's the thing about those kind of bypass crossings. They need to have a special button for those because they give you extra time to cross. If you try to cross just when it turns green, just randomly, you're gonna have to run before it turns green on you again. So now it gives you a countdown. It gives you the amount of time you have to get across the intersection. Some upcoming projects that we have for sidewalks, we got South Second and KSD, and then we're still looking at trying to figure out Kentucky Avenue. I'll talk a little bit more about Kentucky Avenue when we do the East Main drainage project that we've been discussing for a while now, that flooding that we have in the backyards. It's looking like now we're going to bring that pipe up onto Kentucky Avenue and go down Kentucky and wrap around the corner to Alta. So we're going to actually try to do some of that sidewalk work during that project. So we're going to try to piggyback onto that. So we're going to, because our goal is to get the sidewalk on Alta to Lexington Avenue along Kentucky. That's a highly traveled pedestrian area, especially for students going to the high school. So I mean, that's the one section that doesn't have a good sidewalk. Here's some other pictures of the Russell Street project. That was included in our paving list. So after we finished all the concrete work, they were able to then come back. The Allen Company paved the street. We did street markings. So it's been a big improvement. Here's some sidewalk work they've done on Maple Avenue. As they're heading north on the east side, trying to reach Cross Hill, which will get the Coel Manor neighborhood. Will then be able to access the sidewalks coming into downtown. Traffic calming. So we looked at the list of streets that we were paving, and I sent out an email to public safety, the fire and police, and said, hey, what on this list of streets, where are places we need to do some traffic calming? The ones that kind of rose to the top of the list were Kemper, Twin Brook, and East Main. So we were able to put speed humps as part of that paving project for very, very small cost compared to the overall paving cost. So that's what we've got. I think we've had generally a positive response to these. The folks on Twin Brook are really happy about that, slowing folks down there. East Main, I think we're gonna make some tweaks to that one. I think folks are doing things to try to avoid it. So we're gonna make a few tweaks there. And then Kemper was just, I was really stressed about Kemper because I didn't want somebody to hit one of these speed humps going 70, 80 miles an hour, which is possible on Kemper. So we put a lot of signage out. We put some flashing lights out. And so far, I don't think we've had any major incidents. But the folks that lived out there were having a lot of trouble getting pulled out of their driveways just because folks were going so fast. And it's getting more use as a cut through than in the past. I think GPS mapping systems are sending folks that way more than it used to. So they've seen an uptick in traffic. Traffic calming projects upcoming. We're going to do some work on West Walnut, maybe another raised crosswalk or two on Center's campus. North Fifth, we're gonna try to do something we're gonna keep paving North Fifth because it gets slowly kind of falling apart on us. And as we do that, we'll add some traffic calming in there. And then Seminole Trail, we've had a few requests out there. So that's kind of the next one that I'm targeting to try to figure out what we're gonna do, try to slow people down. It's a long straight stretch through there with a lot of traffic. So we may do something at the intersection with Nokomis, and then maybe do something down there where it splits and goes up the hill towards Iroquois and all that. Drainage projects. We've done some repairs at Lexington and Fourth on those inlets. Greeting card lanes, so the road that goes up to American Greetings, this was kind of an emergency repair that we did in-house. We got notified by their maintenance staff that there was an erosion issue occurring at Clark's Run at the bridge that's actually a city street till it crosses the bridge going up towards American Greetings. We went out and took a look at it. Our staff looked at it. We did this in-house. We did a Shot Creek repair on that hillside to try to stabilize it because it's just too steep to put rock or soil into. And we're going to keep an eye on that, see how it holds up. And then some upcoming drainage projects, Dillahay Culvert and South 2nd Street. We got some drainage issues there that we need to work on. And then just kind of a miscellaneous list of projects. We installed a parking lot at the Woven Wire Mountain Bike Park. It's gravel right now. We'll look at paving it in the future. We've heard a lot of positive response to that. It was a project we did in-house. They did a great job, and it's been heavily used already. We continue to raise manholes. Jenny Rogers parking lot. This is one that Tommy and Rick and I, we sat and talked about this for a while last week. We've got to do something quickly there to add parking. We're going to go ahead and get that cut in and put gravel down, hopefully in the next couple of months. And then I'm going to ask for the cost to pave that probably as a capital project for next year's budget. And July 1st gets here, we'll go ahead and try to pave that if it gets approved. But it's becoming a real issue. It's starting to impact the neighbors more and more. So we're going to have to respond to that and add some parking. And then Denmark Drive, we're going to continue to try to look at the curbs in that area there at 5 Star and Tractor Supply and see if we can improve that situation. It's really busy and crowded, and it's starting to deteriorate the roads pretty quickly. Wayfinding signage. 3 signs are installed. Still working on getting the electrical installed at Lebanon Road. It's one that did not have a light previously, so there was no electric there, so we've had to run new electrical service to it. And that, I think that would have already been done and installed. All of our work is done. We're waiting on KU to provide the service. That would have been done if it wasn't for this storm. It hit right when they were getting ready to install that. So that should be soon. I think next we're either going to be at Perryville Road or Houstonville Road. We intended to do Perryville Road third, but it was too soft. The ground was too soft for them to pull the equipment up there. I'm thinking we're going to have the same issue now if we try to go out there after this thaw. So we may look at Houstonville Road. It's a little more of a hillside, probably can hold traffic a little bit better. So phase 2 sign locations and destinations, Melanie and I have been working on this. This is something we're going to probably bring you all a presentation over the next month or two about how we want to address phase 2. I think I've talked to you all a little bit about this before, that when I've sat down and tried to take the phase 2 that was in the master plan and put it into actual practice on the streets, I'm having a really difficult time locating where those signs are going to go. It was easy to just put a dot on the map and say sign here, and when you actually look at where they'd be located, there's just not space for them. So we're trying to develop something that's going to consolidate some signage in some areas that we do have space and kind of be more strategic about that. So it's going to change from off the master plan, but Melanie and I are working together to really put a good plan that we can bring to you all, get approved. And the downtown directory, I'll leave that. Those signs are installed. They're being updated. I'm not sure if we've done the most recent update, but I know Melanie was working on that. Stormwater program. These are kind of all the projects we're working on right now. Twin Brook culvert replacement is complete. There's a little bit of cleanup work they need to do with the grass. They left a few rutted places and things like that they need to repair, but that's the new culvert installed. Installation went great. We had some issues relocating some utilities, which nothing's ever easy here. We had to relocate a water line and a gas line, but that work's been complete, and we're kind of waiting to the first big spring storm to see how it does. So we were kind of wait and see right now. That project came in way under budget, so we're taking that extra, I'm kind of trying to use that extra funding that we have in the capital side for stormwater and do some smaller projects. Tonight, we're going to award a bid, hopefully for Raleigh Court. We've had an issue there for years that we finally going to try to address. And then we've got Brookhaven, which is out in Streamland, which is an area that has a lot of flooding and erosion issues that we're working on the design. East Main, the preliminary design, both those projects, preliminary design is underway. And our goal would be to have a cost estimate ready for request that money in the budget for next year. Like I said, Raleigh Court, we got the bid tonight to award. And then you leave, something in here always about the stormwater permit. Just we have that division of water permit. We've been audited. We have these things that we're addressing that I think MJ, we were talking, we've had some stuff due this week or last week that we were able to turn in. And then our annual report will be due in April for the stormwater permit. Some other projects that we're coming up that we're contracting out. Boffin Avenue sidewalks, I know everybody thinks that it's still not happening, but it is. We have the design complete, and it's at KYTC in the grant office. As soon as they approve the design, we will put that out to bid. We drove out there this morning and drove down Boffman, and just the amount of footprints that are on the side of the road in the snow just is a good, it's really a good indicator of how much foot traffic there is along Boffman. And then I wanted to highlight the 2025 paving list that we completed in November. We paved 12,000 linear feet of streets. And I put a picture, this is a picture of North Fifth, that small section we did of it. We paved restriping. That corner, the corner there on the west side, on the left side of the picture, Public Works, we tore that corner out and rebuilt the ramp and raised everything up to make it more accessible. That was when we looked around at different places we were paving. So that's a little small project. It took our guys just a couple of days. They knocked that out, and we were able to make that crossing safer and more accessible. Cemeteries. So updated rules and regulations went into effect January 1st. We're continuing to try to educate the public about the changes. The big thing we did is added in that there's a permit form that folks have to fill out if they're going to have certain items, certain decorations on the grave sites. The big thing we're doing right now is we've put some temporary signage out at the cemeteries, but we've ordered the permanent signage that will list some of those new rules, and then also gives them a link to get to view the full rules. Those should be going up at the cemeteries hopefully the next month or so. And then we'll continue we're going to do a big push through Memorial Day and then kind of reevaluate, because we have not gotten a lot of forms turned in. It's a little concerning to us that it's just not, people aren't catching on. So we're just going to keep pushing it out there, and hopefully we get some forms filled out in the next few months. But it's not a great time to be doing that right now. It's really going to be once spring, Easter into Memorial Day is when the time we'll be able to get the word out the best. Hilldale fence replacement. This was a capital project that was budgeted last year, that was completed in the summer. That's a picture there of the new fence along Duncan Hill at Hilldale. And then the master plan, this is something we talked a little bit back at our workshop about the rules and regulations, that we're going to try to update the master plan this year, going through the summer. I'm going to talk to the cemetery committee meets tomorrow, and we're going to kind of start having these kind of conversations. I think the first thing I want to do with the cemetery master plan is put together some kind of public survey and get some public input on the kind of the master plan items of how we want to expand and develop the cemetery. So we're going to start working on that tomorrow. Trail system, Tommy's talked about this a little bit. Pine Knob Trails, construction's underway. That's going to be that's going to be a really cool site. Tommy said we went out there and walked it. It's a much bigger site than you realize once you get up into the knobs, and those hills are so steep, which most people are going to be like, oh, wow, you want steep hills? It's going to be a great mountain bike park because of those steep hills. So we're really excited about it. And then some grant projects. So we've been awarded the 2168 trail extension out to, that would go from the end of the trail now on the connector road out to Harrisburg Road and hopefully up to Gentry Lane. And then we've applied for grants, Lexington Road Trail, Trails grant that we applied for last year, and Stanford Road, we just applied for earlier in January, was another TAP grant through KYTC. And then Tommy's already talked about these, so we can skip over this. Information about the Jenny Rogers Early Learning Center, the Indoor Rec and Aquatics, and then the FY26 projects that we've been working on. Vacant property foreclosures. I added this slide in. This is a new slide. Stephen Dexter, the city attorney, and I have been talking back and forth about this. Codes enforcement, we've been working on this. So these are properties that we've identified that we're trying to initiate foreclosure on because we have a tremendous amount of liens and are collecting more and more liens all the time on. 422 Duncan Hill has been auctioned off, and Stephen's going to talk here in a little bit about that auction, how that went with the Master Commissioner sale. 702 Perkins was auctioned off and privately acquired for a building lot. And then I've got a list of properties here that are in the process and hopefully soon will be sent to Master Commissioner or the foreclosure process will be completed. So we're pretty excited about taking that lien list that's, several pages long and shortening that down if we can, so.
I just want to add to that, on that list there probably is comprised of, I would say, in well excess of 200 some odd total number of liens. Some of those properties have over 50 each. I would say combined a minimum of 200 liens will be resolved through those foreclosure processes.
And I mean, hundreds of thousands of dollars in liens to be resolved through this. And the big thing for us is, when these roll back around in the summer, we'll start mowing them again. And codes enforcement will be mowing them. We'll be adding more liens that will be really difficult to get back when the sales process. So it's the quicker we get these off the books, the less the community spends on maintenance of them.
Yeah, and so our strategy was to kind of do a full court press on as many of those as possible to get them sold ahead of the mowing season, which the vast majority of those will be sold, I would think, prior to any need for mowing. So that would be a good thing.
This isn't showing up very well on the chart. You all have this in your packet. This is actually a little project I worked on while I was sitting in the office while nobody was here during the snowstorm. I did a crash analysis of downtown since the streetscape project, and I wanted to highlight a few things. This pointer doesn't work, does it? It's working, but not well. There it is. So I went through and I studied the crash data for our downtown intersections. I've got 2nd and Main, 3rd and Main, 4th and Main. I've got 2nd and Walnut, 3rd and Walnut, 4th and Walnut. And I went and looked at the crash data for 2010 through 2019. That gives us 10 years of good data prior to COVID. And then I did 24 and 25 for after. So 2010 through 2019 is before, 24 and 25 are after. Because 2020 through 2022 is really COVID affected, and then 23 is when we were in construction. So I waited till 24 to start it back up again. I spent too much time nerding out on this data, but the bottom line is that we've seen a slight reduction overall in crashes before compared to after. And I'll add this caveat: the sample sizes are small here, so I want to keep looking at this every year so we get better after data, because 2 years is not really enough data to make a lot of judgments off of. So we've seen a slight reduction in all crashes, but we've seen a pretty significant reduction in injury crashes. I've highlighted these down here. On all downtown intersections, we've gone from 7.5 injury crashes per year down to 5 injury crashes per year. So we've seen a 33% reduction in injury crashes downtown. But on Main Street alone, because those Main Street intersections are the ones we impacted the most, we've gone from 3.5 injury crashes a year down to 1.5. We've only had 3 injury crashes on Main Street in the last 2 years. which is, it's pretty significant reduction. But like I said, those are very small sample sizes, so we'll just continue to keep an eye on this. A couple trends that I'm kind of keeping an eye on. Our overall crash numbers went up at 3rd and Main, and I was like, why have our overall crash numbers gone up so much at 3rd and Main? It's our commercial vehicles running over our bollards. We have 9 commercial vehicle crashes there when previously we had very little. And when I went into the actual data, it said collision with fixed object in roadway. It just was most of those. So that was them hitting our bollards. But when you compare the community impact and community cost of that compared to a crash where someone gets injured because the roads are too wide, I think we would take that trade-off. We've seen, I also wanted to point out 2nd and Walnut, where we took the signal out a few years ago, and we got a little bit of pushback for that. 24 and 25, we've had 7 crashes there, no injury crashes. So in 2 years at that intersection, we've only had 7 crashes and no injuries. So far, that's performing well. I think from a traffic standpoint, it performs pretty well. So that's working out well. And then the last thing I wanted, 4th and Walnut, we saw kind of an uptick in injury crashes at 4th and Walnut after construction. And I was looking at that, dug into that data a little bit more. We had 5 angle crashes there, which is within just a few months of early 2024. And then they've gone away. We've had 18 months of just one injury crash that involved a bicycle, which an injury crash involving a bicycle or pedestrian is not necessarily a negative because it wasn't a fatality. When you have a vulnerable road user impacted, as long as you don't have a fatality, you consider that probably a success. So I'm going to continue to keep an eye on 4th and Walnut and see if I want to dig into those 6 injuries, the 5 angle crashes that we had there, and see what caused those. See if there's a tweak we need to make at 4th and Walnut. We thought with bumping those corners out and doing that lane shift after, it would slow down traffic enough there to reduce those, but we're not seeing that reduction that we thought. So that's the one we're going to keep a closer eye on. But yeah, I just I was working on this and thought you all would find this interesting and let you all know that so far, based on the little data that we have seen a pretty significant reduction in injury crashes on Main Street. So I thought that was good news to share. And I think that is all that I have. So that was a lot of stuff, but if you all have any questions.
Any questions about the engineering report? Good report. Yeah. But you have a lot of items left.
I do have a lot of items. These should go pretty quick. They're pretty straightforward.
So, Resolution 2026-02-0909, and then 10 all the way to what, 16 or something?
Yes, yeah.
All right, Josh, you up, buddy?
All right, the first item is landscape contract renewal for 2026. We awarded the landscape contract last year to Divine Creations in the amount of $82,885. We usually bid those contracts with an option to renew for 1 year if both parties agree, and Divine Creations has agreed, and we agree that this is a good dollar amount for us. It's been successful. Divine Creations has had our landscape contract for almost 20 years now. Wow. So they've got everything down pretty well. So we would recommend to approve renewing their contract for 1 more year.
And the amount?
$82,885.
So same amount? Okay.
Yes.
So Chair would entertain a motion?
Move that we, move that we approve resolution number 2026-020909.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Next one is 20910. Josh, Morgan?
Yes, same thing for our cemetery maintenance contract. We awarded that contract last year to Cutting Edge in the amount of $147,995.00. They agreed to renew at the same cost, and we agree with that, so we would like to recommend renewing their contract for another year.
Did we add some new locations for Cutting Edge?
Not, this is just the cemetery maintenance. So this is the standard contract. And they've had this same, similar thing. They've had this contract for almost 20 years as well. So
Okay.
we're happy with their performance.
Is there a motion? Thank you, ma'am. Is there a second?
I will second that.
Is her mic on? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Can you all hear? Ms. Commissioner Siri, can you hear? Can you? Okay, all right, okay. I couldn't hardly hear her, so it might just be me, all right. All right, let's go on to the next one then. 020911.
Yes, as we discussed during the report, and Stephen will cover this more later with the purchase process, but the city was the high bidder for 422 Duncan Hill. In your package, you have an updated plat. I think, is that plat in there? I can get it.
You stop, Doug?
Yeah, we'll add this plat for you all real quick. And the purpose that, one of the purposes of us purchasing that is we needed to get primarily a water line easement along the edge of that property to connect the water lines at the new development off of Boffman to Duncan Hill Road to create kind of a loop that would provide better water service for everyone in that area. So the plat that we're trying to get forwarded to you all would have, it takes about 20 feet off of the eastern edge of the property and then takes it off of this lot and then combines it to the cemetery because the cemetery is adjacent to it on that eastern side. What that will enable us to do will provide a place to put that water line, but also will provide a place for us to put a walking path. Because when they did the development on Boffman, we requested that they leave a little right of way for a sidewalk so that folks in that development and on Boffman could then cross this property and get to Duncan Hill with the ultimate goal of getting them across Clark's Run into Michael Smith Park into the Clark's Run Trail. So that was kind of something we've been working on in the background, trying to get this sidewalk / trail connection from Boffman over to Clark's Run Trail. So the plat is really, we need your all's signature on it. We need the mayor's signature on it that says, yes, we want to make this property adjustment of taking this 20-foot strip off of 422 Duncan Hill and combining it with Hilldale Cemetery. There's a garage on there now that I think we're going to demolish. Looking at it, it's in pretty rough shape and is not really used to us in the condition it's in. And then also we have some trees that we need to clean up, and we probably will replace that fence along that side of the cemetery at some point. Now, the exact location of the fence, we may move it a little bit based on where the water line and the walking path ends up. And also talking to whoever ends up with the remainder of the property, which the goal would be to then surplus the remainder for a building lot after this is completed. It leaves about a 60-foot wide building lot, which is a reasonable building lot, and we've talked to folks that are interested in it, and that they think that would be reasonable for them to build upon. So,
Okay, the chair will entertain a motion to approve Resolution 20911, Duncan Hill plat. So moved. Is there a second?
I will second.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. You two getting a good workout today, aren't you? Josh, you have the next one. 020912 Saddle Ridge Circle.
yes, in your all's package, I just checked, you all do have this one. So Saddle Ridge Circle out off the end of Belinda Avenue, out by, Goodwill, Applebee's out in that area. That development was originally built as, the road was a private drive owned by the homeowners association out there. Over time, they've requested a few times that the city take over maintenance and ownership of that road. We worked through a path where they went through planning and zoning because a lot of the things that they were going to be, I'd say, non-compliant with were going to be planning and zoning regulations. So they took this plat to planning and zoning, I believe it's the December meeting. Is that when you all, Frank Farr with the homeowner association is here. You all took it to December meeting of planning and zoning, I believe. And they reviewed it and approved it. You know, they had to waive certain things. The right-of-way, our minimum right-of-way width is 50 feet. The right-of-way that's shown on here is only 40 feet. The setbacks had to be waived because the buildings are too close to the property lines. And then there's no sidewalks. There's kind of the one kind of structural thing that's off. I did ask that if, you know, this be approved, you know, the only way we would approve this is contingent upon them paving the street, putting a new surface layer of asphalt down. The road's been there, you know, about 20 years now, and it's in pretty good shape. We don't see anything major. We don't see any kind of major humping or settling that's causing issues. So we think with a new surface layer of asphalt, we'd be in good shape. So we're recommending that. I think as the city, as one of the owners here, has to sign off on this plat for it to be processed by planning and zoning. We're not sure when the paving's going to happen. We've kind of had discussions about, there's still some construction going on out there. They're finishing up a few of the houses, so they may delay paving a little bit until those are completed, which we may do that through, we may actually run that through planning and zoning through their bonding process, where the city takes over ownership, but it's based on a contingent upon, they have a bond in place to do the paving if they don't complete it. So we're kind of exploring that, but in the meantime, we need this approved so that the mayor can sign it as the owner for the city to establish ownership of the right of way. And one thing it cleans up, which I wasn't even aware of, is the last, 100 feet or so of Belinda was not included in the original right of way. As you can see, the bottom right-hand corner of this plat, that last section of Belinda will now be part of the city right-of-way as well. So that was kind of a critical thing that we cleaned up in this process as well.
Making this area, these will be city streets,
Yes, these will be city streets.
and we'll be responsible for the, praise the Lord out there, right? This has been one of the works too for a while.
And I think kind of a positive for us, especially with us taking, if it's in really good condition when we take it over, our gas tax funding, our municipal aid funding that we receive is based on how many linear feet of streets that we have. So if we can add some inventory that's not going to require a lot of maintenance from us in the meantime, that kind of boosts our revenue that we can generate through the gas tax, so.
Good. So it's a win-win, so good. Okay. Is there, need a motion for this one, don't I? 20912, is there a motion to approve the Salary Circle right-of-way?
I move that we approve resolution 2026020912.
Thank you, sir. There's a second. Thank you, ma'am. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Good one. Been out there for a while. Yep. All right, next one is 020913 KU tree agreement.
Yes, in your package, you have the standard agreement that we have with KU for our grant that we receive each year. The amount is $2,500. It requires a $2,500 match as well, but that has been funded in the past by the local foundation, Bo Weston and his crew that raises money, and they provide the match for this. They usually far exceed $2,500 is what they provide to the city. It's usually around $5,000. So we just need a signature on this grant agreement so that we can then request reimbursement for $2,500 from KU.
Thank you, sir. What's your pleasure, commissioners? Is there a motion to accept the tree agreement? Thank you, ma'am. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Any other comments? Josh, this has always been a good one, so great. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Old Bo got to collect some more money, right? Okay, next one is 020914.
Yes, we're requesting approval again to apply for a FHWA build grant for 2026. We've applied for this grant. This will be the fourth year in a row, and we haven't been successful so far, but I think we're going to keep putting the same project in because it's a good project. We're going to put in a request to kind of do improvements to South 2nd Street all the way from Martin Luther King to where it connects to 4th Street. We're estimating total project budget of $5 million. We are considered rural, so we are not required to have any match at all. But I'm recommending that we commit $250,000, just so we show that we're putting some money into the project. Last year, we only applied for the design fees. We applied for $400,000. We weren't successful then either. We actually spoke to Comer's office about this, and they think it's better if we just go for the full amount, go for the construction. It really didn't, there's no, that difference doesn't impact whether we get it or not. We should just go for the full amount if we can. So that's what we're going to do. We'll spend the applications are due, I believe, the 24th of February. So we're going to spend the next couple of weeks putting that application together and trying to get some letters of support from folks. So if folks hear from me, I'm going to be trying to get enough letters of support to hopefully get us this grant this time. So.
You try getting a letter of support from KSD?
Yes, I think we got one the first time we applied for it, but I think I want to I've been submitting the same letters of support. We're going to try to get updated versions of all those this time.
That'd be a good one, okay. Commissioners, is there a motion to approve or to deny? Always give them that option, right? Is there a motion?
Certainly. What number is that?
It's number 14.
I move for approval of 2026-02-09-14.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second? Thank you, ma'am. You said $5.5 million with a $250,000 match. Sounds good. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Josh, we hope that you guys are successful this time.
Yes.
Good. Next one is 02-09-15, the Raleigh Court Drainage Project bid award.
Yes, like I discussed earlier, we came in under budget on Twin Brooks, so we were trying to find some small projects that we could knock out, and this was one of them that's been on my plate since I came back 5 years ago, and we thought this was a good time to try to get it designed and constructed this spring. The issue is when the upper area of Colonial Way, up on top of the hill when it was built, the drainage that ran off of it, it just kind of went out into the backyards of folks on the cul-de-sac of Raleigh Court. So during heavy rain events, it would overtop a couple berms, and we had structure flooding out there. So we thought it was going to be a much more expensive project of going all the way down to the creek with a pipe, but actually we found there was a pipe located to the west that we were able to tie into, which really lowered the overall cost. So the project was designed by EGE Engineering. We opened bids on February 3rd. We got 3 bids. The low bid was from May Excavation and Contracting in the amount of $45,000. We've got good references on them, and that's actually below the engineer's estimate. So we're recommending award to May Excavation and Contracting in the amount of $45,000.
Thank you, sir. Can I have a motion from the commission?
Move to approve resolution 2026-02-09-15.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Any other questions for Josh? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. All right, Josh, 02-09-16.
So yes, on our mowing contracts from last year, so last year we bid the mowing contract out a little bit different. We split it up into three different bids, one for the parks, one for the general city mowing, and one for utilities. We had success with 2 of the 3, so we've talked to our contractors and they're willing to renew at the same cost. So we are recommending to renew the parks portion with Holtz Landscape Group in the amount of $183,960.00, and the utilities portion with Cutting Edge in the amount of $34,830. The other part, the general city one, we had to change contractors in the middle of the year. We need to make a few tweaks to it. So it is actually out to bid right now. We're going to open bids on it February 17th. So I'll bring that back at the next meeting for an award. But at this time, we're recommending the renewal of the parks portion with Holtz Landscape and the utilities portion with Cutting Edge.
Yeah, good. Okay, Need a
Move that we
motion?
approve 2026-020916.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second? Thank you, ma'am. It's all right. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. This is what, your second or your third meeting? Third meeting? Okay, so. Well, no, I say that because people keep, I want to keep people informed that she's sort of new at this. We've all been new at this except for Kevin. He was born into his commissioner's chair, so he's been there for a long time.
Feel like it.
No, you are doing good, yes, ma'am. And your other two friends here, they played hooky on you today, so that's all right, yep. Yeah, they do, yeah. All right, let's go on then. Chief McCurdy, Resolution 20917, the PPE grant application.
Yes, so the first resolution I have before you has a request for authorization to put in for a grant for personal protective equipment, which is our turnout gear. And they offer this grant every year, the Kentucky Fire Commission does, and it's to reimburse fire departments for up to 2 sets of turnout gear, equivalent to $7,000. And there's no reimbursement needed for this particular grant. So we're just requesting authorization to put in for this grant.
Okay, is there a motion? So moved, is there a
I'll
second?
second. Yep.
Thank you, sir, thank you, ma'am. No questions, all those in favor of applying for this grant by the fire department, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Thank you, chief. You have one more, right?
Thank you. Yes, the second resolution is for the requested surplus and sale of 2013 F-350 utility truck that we have. It's been taken out of service in 2023, hasn't been in service, and we replaced it at that time, and we no longer have a need for it. Looking into the assessed value of the vehicle, Enterprise offered to sell it for approximately $12,000 to $13,000 sale price. We've had some other government agencies in our local area that were interested in the vehicle and had offered $15,000 to purchase the vehicle. So we're looking to recommend the surplus and sale of the vehicle to Washington County Fire Department for the purchase price of $15,000.
Thank you, sir. That's always a good deal for somebody. All right, it's good community service. Is there a motion to approve the surplus of the fire truck?
Move that we approve Resolution 2026-020918.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. That's always a good thing. Wow. Okay, the chief back, oh, there he is. Yes, sir, you're up next, yeah, sir?
All right, the first one we have, we need approval to pay our annual watch guard service fees. This is our dash, body camera, storage fees associated with the period of February 1st, 2026 through January 31st, 2027, and the amount is $52,769.
Thank you, sir.
Move we approve Resolution 2026-020919.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Chief, you're up, still up.
Our next one is seeking the approval to apply for our annual highway safety grant in the amount of $10,000. It's 100% reimbursable. It reimburses our officers who participate in occupant protection enforcement. And this is just our permission to approve us to apply for it. We do this every year.
Yes, sir. Well, Commissioners, what's your pleasure? All right. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you all. Any questions? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Well, I hope folks who are watching this video are keeping score about all the grants that the city staff is bringing forward, because that's really important that we seek all these different grants, because it improves the quality of life for all of us. And you hear about them being 100% grant, no match. That's really amazing. But you can win a $5 million grant with a $250,000 match. That's wow,
Yeah.
it's amazing, outstanding. So kudos to staff for staying on top of all the possible applications. And with that said, we have the city attorney sitting there.
Thank you.
Mr. Dexter. how you
Last
doing?
item, we've discussed this a little bit tonight through the city engineer's report in 422 Duncan Hill, but the city initiated foreclosure on a host of its code enforcement liens on that property. We had a judgment that was entered in our favor, and a foreclosure sale transpired on the property we approved the submission of a bid at our December 8th meeting. The master commissioner sale was held. We submitted a credit bid. Of our judgment amount, we were the high bidder. It also required us to pay the delinquent tax bills on the property, which has, the sale, after the sale was confirmed, meaning that we were deeded the property, and all that can be transpired after your approval of it tonight. So you approved the submission of the bid. It was the high bid. We've collected all the necessary information in order to have the delinquencies taken care of. This will resolve the city's liens on the property and allow the easements that were necessary. And one of the immediate requirements of acquiring the property have now come to fruition. And so if you approve this resolution, it will be the last step in the process.
I know there's going to be a motion on this one in favor of, right? So who's going to make that motion?
Ms. Sarris?
Thank you, ma'am. So it means you're going to second it?
I will second it.
Thank you, sir. Before, let's discuss this one, right? The liens on this property, majority of them were held by us.
The majority of them were held by the city, quite a bit. We won't recoup the cost of the liens over the years, but it'll get the property back into
Yes.
circulation and property tax payment, and then we will no longer have to spend money to maintain it.
Well, and some of that, I'll just add, is unknown at this point. So we have what our known costs are, but we have an intention of selling the property, and that'll be by bid, which may or may not recoup or be a full recoupment on the process. So at this point, I would say, as an addendum to what our finance director said, is unknown.
Sure.
Hopeful full recovery, but at this point, it's undeterminable.
Yeah. But to do this tonight, and then all those other things on that code enforcement report, to make those things.
This will take off a host of,
Yes,
a
sir.
host of those liens that are on that report.
Yes, sir.
But furthermore, like Lee says, we'll stop the bleeding on future maintenance, but then also get it into a lot that can be built upon.
Yes.
And after the plat was approved tonight, I would say, hopefully at your next meeting, you'll be able to surplus the remaining portion of that and get that under process so that a future builder can acquire it and maybe even have a spring build.
Yes, that's great. I know there's a former commissioner will be real proud of you. She'll be real proud of you, won't she?
I hope so. As long as you're proud of me, Mayor, that's all I care about.
All those in favor of passing this resolution to approve this deed, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Wow, that's great. Woo! What did I tell y'all the number we had? What, 49 items on the agenda tonight?
Let's do it all again. One more time. There we
Okay.
go.
No, I'm just joking, but it was a long one. That was, I appreciate staff, because.
Do we have a,
Personnel.
We don't even
of
talk
course
about
we
that.
did. Okay.
No executive session, right?
Personnel.
Is that it, just personnel?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So make a motion for a very, very brief one. Commissioner Fowler.
I make a motion to go into executive session to discuss the personnel matter pursuant to KRS 61-810-1F.
Thank you, sir. And thank you, ma'am, for your second and all of those. That's all right. All of us in favor say aye. And
Aye.
we're going into executive session. Wow. Guys, that was a great. Where did
3.5 hours? Y'all go home. Go home. Go home. Go home.
session. Mr. City Manager?
Staff is recommending the hiring of Eric Philpott to the position of certified firefighter.
So moved.
Second?
I second it. I'm
All
sorry.
right. All those in favor say aye.
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 Congratulations.
Staff is recommending the hiring of Chase Jenkins, a firefighter recruit.
So moved.
I agree.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Congratulations.
Staff is recommending that you accept the resignation of Sean Ingram from the position of water distribution operator.
Is there a motion? She says it is. Kevin, you second?
I'll second it.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
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 Utility billing manager officially. Back.
If I vote no, it won't pass, right?
What can we do to make her not come back? Oh.
Is there a motion to
I will
accept?
make that motion, and congratulations to her.
She said
second
second,
it,
all right. So we have moved and second with regrets to accept the resignation of Erica Ingalls. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, aye.
Oh, we'd like to oppose it, but.
Chair would like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
I
It's,
move we adjourn.
Yes, sounds good.
wow, 6 o'clock.
Everybody moves that we adjourn.
All those, all those in favor say aye.